So I went to a new movie theater in town. This was Look Cinemas in North Dallas. I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy, and the movie was good. The movie's fine. It's the theater, which was the first time I've ever been there, was amazing. It's one of these new super premium movie theaters where you have a huge screen and electronic leather recliners for all the seats, and each row of seats is, much higher than the row behind it, and there's about kind of a 10-foot space, I guess, between you and the short wall in front of you that separates you from the seats in front of you and the people behind you. So more or less when you're in your recliner back, you really can't see anybody else in the movie theater. You just have this wall in front of you that just covers up the bottom of the screen. So you're sitting there, and it's kind of that feeling of being a kid in the lobby of some grand movie palace. This screen must take up 120 degrees of your field of vision, left to right and up and down. Some equivalent of that. It's big. It's dang big, and it's the most modern 4K digital projectors. One or two of the theaters, the one I was in, had the new Dolby Atmos sound system, which handles sound mixing in a different way than the older Dolby Surround. You might know Dolby 5.1 or 7.1, where you would have 7 discrete channels kind of positioned around you, and the 0.1 is for the subwoofer channel. Now the Dolby Atmos takes that in a different direction, and you end up with 64 discrete channels of audio behind the screen and around the theater and even over your head. And by having those arrays of speakers over your head, as well as on the side of you and in front of you, and they're all full dynamic range, every one of them, you're able to write the mixing software in such a way that the person doing the sound mixing for the film can place things in three-dimensional space around the audience as they want them to be heard. Whereas previously you might mix something to be in the left channel, the right channel, the rear, or the rear addition for the 7.1. And this one, the software is an abstraction layer between the components and the actual sound, and you basically just move the sound mix in a 3D space of where you want different elements. And for any given movie, you can have 128 unique positional elements using the 64 discrete full dynamic range channels. Plus, of course, you still have the subwoofer. And I would have to imagine the sound system in this theater was, easily a $60,000 sound system. I don't know. Hell, it could have been $1 million, It was really up there on the sound. And then the recliners, man, they're just... I've actually gone to other theaters in town like this. There's several, premium theaters in DFW that have these leather recliners and even have the electric leather recliners, which by electric they just have a buttons that you push to fold them down or to push them up. And good food there, good beer and food. You can bring it into the movie theater. You pick yourself up a bottle of wine if you would like, and they give you wine glasses in the theater. You can take beers in with you. The one I was in did not have the waiters, and I actually kind of like that. There's some in town that do, but they can be distracting, walking around, taking orders and getting things. And this one, if you wanted another beer or popcorn, you would just have to go get it yourself. Another nice thing, the concession stand, they had grilled hamburgers and grilled hot dogs with a guy actually at an open fire grill behind the concession counter. So I didn't try them, but I have to imagine they taste a lot better than the steamed burgers you might get at a more traditional movie theater. Focus was perfect. Sound, presentation, quality of the screen, the visuals, everything was perfect. It was worth the $15 per person. I understand if you go to a matinee there, it's only $9 a person. So it's really not that much of a premium to be paid. That's Look Motion Pictures. I like it. They don't have everything at the submarine races. Plaid bag traveler kits, shaving for men in hotel rooms. We got spiders in the eggs doing the cyclone. Guy looks like Elvis sitting down in the ballroom. The elevator's got a rug in it. Inside the microphone. So I'm back after lunch. I did that part about the movie theater, you know, what I liked about going to see Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was a great film. The reasons I liked it are numerous and vague. It's B-movie-ish sci-fi, kind of like an Ice Pirates, but it had heart, and it certainly could grow on you. I easily think you could watch this movie many times. Nothing seemed too forced, you know, in the proud tradition of a B-movie, except for everything. But in many real ways, nothing was forced. Characters had their own motivations, you know, whatever those were. Each of them had a distinct, likable, realistic character, and they remained true to themselves. The movie had a purity of essence that was refreshing. It's a term I like to use on a movie when things just add up on the internal structure and the internal relationships between characters. You know, it may or may not exist in this reality, but everything that happened certainly could happen. And the motivations and things that characters wanted to prove about themselves rang true. There was something of a realness about all of them. Essentially, what this means is that this film can likely be watched many times without being aggravated by it. As always, will probably be something pleasant to put on. Things that I like. I like nice movie theaters. I like movie theaters. I like the idea of movie theaters. Practical execution, a lot of them fail to meet the expectations because there's some idiot sitting next to you breathing through his mouth wrong, and someone else is telling someone everything that's about to happen or asking what's going to happen next, even though the person next to them hasn't seen the movie either. You know, there's all these things that can go wrong. So the idea of going and paying to see a movie and actually having it be a worthwhile experience that was better and something improved upon what I could get at home, that's where it's really worthwhile and in the likable camp. I suppose I like pizza quite a bit. Lifelong fan of radio and people talking, listening to voices explain things. I just found a piece of transparent plastic, translucent plastic. It almost looked like a slide from a Viewmaster. And for a second I thought it might contain some type of hidden microfilm message, plans for some device that one of these companies next door could be working on. Yeah, sure, their name on the door is innocuous enough, but they're probably some secret military contractor, which is why I found this dirty piece of microfilm laying out in front of their building. Alright, other things that I like. Legos. I like the idea of the Atari VCS. I like reading about programming the Atari 2600. Racing the Beam is a good one. The fact that it did not have a graphics chip or a graphics program of any kind, you had to tell the beam when to squirt blocks of color in different places. And you had to race it as it scanned left to right 60 times a second. You had to tell it when you wanted something where. You know what I'm saying? It's complicated. A bitch. Not something I could do, but I appreciate it. I like crock-pot meals. My wife and I are making a crock-pot meal tomorrow that has pork, sweet potatoes, and lots of onions and tomatoes in it. Sort of a stew. Put some cilantro in there, some parsley, some green onions, bell peppers of every color you can find. More the merrier. I've had it before. It's a darn fine nutritional beverage. I see myself serving it up in a big cup, perhaps drinking it down after a long hike through the woods. Like that book Mike recommended, I'm about halfway through that now. Hiking the Appalachian Trail. Very, very fun book. Not too expensive if you grab it on the Kindle. Check it out. Check it out. What do you see in the clouds? Looks like a bunch of old knobbly-headed men. That one fella's got his hair parted like Caesar and got a nose like Ernest Borgnine. Got a mustache like the Swedish chef. And a lower jaw like Barney Miller. Look at his nose. It's bulbous. I think he's late for dinner. Why does the sky look like that? Well, it looks like it looks, I reckon. It's probably going to rain or something. It's getting dark and gray and kind of hungry looking in the east. Do you think that man is late for dinner? Why are you talking to me all funny? Aunt Adabelle's old TV that don't work right told me things at night. I got it plugged in down in my room and listened to it while I sleep. Told me what Daddy was doing with that rag. I know everything about it. I saw what happened at the barn. He didn't think I knew it, but I knew it. No one ever asked what became of that old encyclopedia salesman who used to come around here on Sundays. You know why the well water tastes funny. Besides, you better stop eating all that damn catfish. You know it ain't good for you. You ain't supposed to be eating no fried nothing. Party pizza ain't gonna be no better. You better eat right. I'll get a switch up on you. Yeah, I am. You remember what Leroy told Daddy? He said, shit, that boy about had been dead. I went and dipped in pond scum. Got a kneecap up in it all. Yeah. I said, I ain't gonna come around and hit him on the head. He ain't got nothing to say. He just looked on. He went, That's what old Leroy said. He went, Oh, Lord. Yeah, he's been making a lot of money on that cooking. Yeah, he got something going on down there. Well, they're fixing cars for a little while. Oh, just oiling them up and shit. He said you put that old oatmeal and honey up in that transmission, it'd be good for about 100 miles. Long enough to get the fuck out of there.
PWEI. Pop will eat itself.
We like the music. We like the disco sound. Hey, riffs? Yeah. Can you dig it? We dig TV, we dig remote control, we dig the Furry Freak Brothers and the Twilight Zone, we dig Marvel and DC, we dig Run DMC, we dig Renegade Soundwave and AC/DC, Bruce Wayne, Peter Zane, Dirty Harry, Make My Day, Terminator, Hit the North, Alan Moore, Knows the Score. We dig Optimus Prime and not Galvatron, we dig the leader of the pack in the Do Run Run, Spinderella and Bruce Lee, The Bad and the Ugly, V for Vendetta, and Into the Groovy.
Thank you, Vest and Pants. That was very groovy music. We like you, Pop will eat itself. We like you a lot.
A lot.